A hiccup in the Kyrie Irving trade. Now, ooh, nice hiccup. That
was a good one.
Was that on purpose or was that accidental?
I'm going to leave it up to you to interpret.
Very interesting.
Good bit of acting there.
So Kyrie Irving, still most likely going to the Boston Celtics.
It's so strange that we're having this conversation.
That we're still having this conversation?
No, it's just strange. That's what it's typical, and it's almost like the transfer market in world football has made its way to basketball, where we're like,
yeah, you're right.
Trade happens. Oh, wait, underneath, we might not be going on. What restrictions may apply?
Is Mbappe still going to PSG?
I don't know, man. I'm sick of that. I'm just waiting to see. When I see his name on the score sheet somewhere, I'm just going to be like, okay, that's the team he's on.
Besides the fact of, here's the news, and then we'll get into some of the jokes, and then we'll get into actual talking about it. Because of Isaiah Thomas's hip, after the physical that was conducted, because as all trades, there's always that last line that rarely has anything to do with preventing a trade. Trade will be completed upon physical. Cleveland will get physical of Isaiah Thomas's hip. They think that it might be worse than it is. Now, it's not like career-ending hip injury here. It just might be a nagging injury or a problem that's going on for a very little guy in the NBA who's bouncing off bigs like a pinball. So yeah, his hip is gonna take some work because at the end of the day, he is smaller than everybody else. Now, he still plays at an elite level. He still finished 5th in the MVP voting, which does not make him the 5th best player in the league, but it's still worth noting. Even more awkward would be the idea of, okay, we don't want to do this trade anymore because of the hip, so Kyrie, you go back and hang out with Bron. Isaiah Thomas, you go address all the a-holes who thought it was okay to burn your jersey because those aren't real fans. If you burn, I take it to this point, if you burn a jersey, even if you burn KD's jersey, you're not a fan of basketball, you're just an asshole. So the trade, I think, will still go through. The Cavs might want one more thing, but don't get too greedy or the Celtics could just cut the cord from you. So if it's another 2nd round pick, probably go through with it. They have 1 million picks. They've hit the lottery twice with Tatum and Brown. If the Celtics give up another 1st round pick, Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, you're talking about taking a trade that is already potentially lopsided and making it an absolute steal for Cleveland.
Yeah.
Regardless what Kyrie Irving gets you, if you give up one of those 2 talents, you can't do it. Francis Maxwell, what do you think will happen? What do you think is most likely? Nothing changes? That a trade is rescinded completely? Or there's a minor renegotiation?
So
take a guess.
I would like to see it still go through because I'm super excited to see what a Kyrie Irving-led Boston Celtics team would look like. We've already seen what the Cavs look like, and obviously I'm interested to see how Isaiah Thomas and Crowder would fit into that team. But there's something about the Celtics' rejuvenation and return to the top of basketball that has got everyone generally excited, and that's not just Ja'Cory in my ear nonstop talking about it, but it's like, the fact is that Boston's a staple of basketball. We know this, so I'd like to see Kyrie Irving. He seems like a perfect fit for that team. He's exciting, and he'd be able to kind of lead them to, I think, the next stage. But I don't think that would come at the demise of the Cavaliers, if that makes sense. So it's almost like a perfect way to adjust things in the Eastern Conference as a neutral basketball fan and still remain excited because both teams are going to have to come up with a new dynamic to try and win and compete again against the Golden State Warriors. Now, I do think who's in the best position at this point? It's undoubtedly the Cavaliers. Now they're going to try to stretch it a little bit because here's what happens. If they stretch it and they try to get another pick and they come out on top, they've got an incredibly lopsided trade that's going to only benefit them further. If the Celtics feel like they can just pull the cord, they get Isaiah Thomas back, hip, niggling injury, whatever it is, and the Cavaliers get to keep Kyrie Irving. So they're not any worse off than what they were. They're not getting any better, but I still think they're in a position where they could benefit from it. Where I think the Celtics, in terms of the short-term acquisition of Kyrie Irving and what he can do to that team, I think they get a little bit better. Whereas I think the Cavaliers, with all those pieces together, I don't know how to. It's a weird trade because losing Kyrie you'd think would make them worse, but I'm just confident in LeBron James that he can make anything work around them, so I don't think the Cavs get any worse. Whereas the Celtics, I think, get a little bit better by just having Kyrie Irving there, so they maybe have more to lose.
But they just can't give up Brown or Tatum, and I don't think they would. I think that 2nd round pick is because everyone jumped on Tatum or Brown being asked for. Of course, if the Cavs are smart, you do go like, hey man, that hip man, we can't trust it.
Yeah.
We want Brown. He's 20, 21 years old. He has no hip problems. We want him too. Maybe you guys keep Zizic instead. There's a renegotiation. If you're the Milwaukee Bucks, where they called the Cleveland Cavaliers and said, hey, we'll give you Chris Middleton, a 1st round pick, and Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon was Rookie of the Year. Middleton, a absolute fit for any team when healthy because he can hit threes, play on the wing. He's a good shooter. Doesn't necessarily offer up a ton of defense at the moment, but doesn't mean he could not necessarily become a better defender. Kyrie Irving, again, in the bottom 7 worst defensive players in the league. Worst defensive players in the backcourt. Maybe you throw something else in there and you say, hey, we'll still take Kyrie. Then we can have a team with, you'd be giving up a lot of your youth, but you still have a team around Jabari Parker, Kyrie Irving, Giannis Antetokounmpo would be interesting. So maybe the Bucks come in and try to swipe something. Maybe other teams are already calling. In the end, not to be really anticlimactic, I think the Celtics either throw in a 2nd-round pick or the trade just doesn't change at all.
Yeah.
I would be highly doubtful of any major additional player being added. I also think it would be ridiculous if Danny Ainge does that. I think you're taking a trade that does benefit you by getting Kyrie, even though you're giving up a lot, and adding a Tatum or Brown makes you one of the dumbest general managers in the game.
The Golden State Warriors
I take that back, not dumbest general manager moves in one specific case, because he still was able to get Tatum and Brown in the first place, and obviously that paid off or could pay off in the future.
And Golden State Warriors coming in for Kyrie would be cool, with Kyrie, Steph, Kevin Durant.
I was mentioning
Draymond Green.
Draymond Green and Paul George were at the nightclub I was at with Chance the Rapper, and I'm just thinking the whole time, Draymond Green's hanging out with Paul George. Which means if it doesn't go well in Oklahoma City, Paul George is hanging out with Draymond Green.
They're going to stop
Draymond
burning.
Green recruited Kevin Durant.
They're going to have to burn down the Paul George street name. What did they do with the Durant Street again? That was one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life.
Durant, Oklahoma.
People are just like, I don't want to live in Durant, Oklahoma anymore.
They moved out of Durant, Oklahoma. It was not even their fault. It was named after like a legitimate, I don't know, for all we know, it could have been like a Confederate general, whoever Dudley Durant was, but still, it wasn't Dudley Durant.
Pretty interesting.
We will look up Durant, Oklahoma for you.
The mayor of Durant is like, we just suddenly lost an entire population of our city and things just went to shit because Kevin Durant took his talents elsewhere.
I just want to mention this last thing. There's a major shout out to those in Houston who are taking the absolute worst condition and turning it into the most awesome thing I've ever seen. There are people in pickup trucks and they're wakeboarding and tubing behind them.
And then there's that woman who handed.
There's also a shark on the highway.
I don't know if that's true. I think you got.
I'm believing it.
I was gonna say, is that not the same shark that was also in Puerto Rico during the floods? Was also in Australia during the floods. Like I'm sure it just makes its way around at any given point.
The shark is not dangerous.
Yeah.
Why, Francis?
Because sharks are
fish
are food. There is floating fire ants, which, by the way, is on a Twitter mentions point. So don't go like
never go to Houston.
The ants are like sacrificing dead ants to float on. We'll just savage those ants.
Durant, Oklahoma. It's a city.
Please don't tell me it's named after a Confederate general. Please
no,
don't.
There's also Durant Regional Airport and the Choctaw Casino and Resort.
Did people stop flying out of Durant Regional Airport as well? They want to discount flights instead.
They changed it to Westbrook National Airport. Understandable. PG-13 airport. Comment below.